Hello and welcome! At long last, Miles has dragged me kicking and screaming to see Pacific Rim. Why not earlier, ask? Well, I was in Finland, and I was in Finland that week, and he threatened to great physical force to finally make me go, and so I have gone, and I will tell you my thoughts on it. But at first, I will let Miles have his time to give his brief thoughts.
First trailers, or
yeah, sure, trailers. We'll do that.
First one was Ender's Game.
Ender's Game. Looks good. I'm still. I think I've gone over this once before, but I'm really wondering how they're going to structure this movie, because it's almost entirely based around a spoiler. You know, it's like the whole thing is based around a twist, and I'm not going to say what the twist is, but like, in this day and age, it's almost impossible to avoid spoilers unless you live in a bunker or you purposely choose to unplug. So either they're going to make the movie and play it straight, or they're going to just tell you right off the bat what it is and just try to make a good movie out of it, knowing what the finale is. And I don't know how they're going to play it.
I honestly don't know how it's gonna play with me, because it was one of the first books I read that got me into sci-fi.
Yeah.
The first one was Dune, but then that followed shortly thereafter, and I loved it. But I haven't actually picked it up since junior high. So
it's still a good book. It holds up. You tried reading the sequels, and they don't.
Yeah.
I've read the sequels, and I don't like them. They really don't hold up for me. But yeah, whatever. But I'm curious to see, because if you know this, I mean, the books are still good when you know the secret, and you know the twist. But it's such a startling twist, especially when you read it as a kid. It really it takes your legs out from under you when you read that story, and so you kind of want that when you see the movie. You want people to see it for the first time and really get blown away. It really is kind of like that Sixth Sense type of twist, and you want people to have that. I just don't know if they're making the movie for this time, in this day and age, do you just like give in and figure like, you know what, fuck it, they're gonna know the twist going in, or do you still try to make that movie? Do you still try to play it straight? Do you still make that movie just going like, you know what, some people are gonna go in not knowing what it is, and
I think they're gonna play it like that.
I don't know. It's kind of curious, because, well, the thing is, watching the trailer, it kind of seems like they're playing it really intense, and they're kind of playing it like, there's the stakes are really high, and everyone's aware of what's going on, and everyone's aware of, you know what I mean? It doesn't seem like there's anything kind of shady at work. I don't know if it doesn't seem to me like they're playing it like you're describing. I don't know. There's also that one Seventh Son, which is... Ori looks so happy. The Seventh Son, which apparently the big Jeff Lebowski is in just everything these days. It's this dark fantasy thing, apparently, where he plays a witch hunter training another young witch hunter.
It says it was based off a series of books, and I don't know this.
I've never heard of it. No.
That was one of the taglines on the trailers, from an acclaimed series of books.
And I'm sure we'll be corrected. Like, what, you've never heard it? Yeah, I mean, what the fuck? You've never heard of this shit? Like,
you haven't heard it? Fail.
Yeah. Never heard of it. Two Guns.
Yeah.
It's yet another one of these movies where Mark Wahlberg gets paired with a guy, and they do crimes. How many movies have we seen where Mark Wahlberg gets paired with a guy and they do crime? That's like every Mark Wahlberg movie. It's like it's either The Rock or Denzel in this case, or who else? Who else can you name where Marky Mark's paired with a guy and they just do? It's like a buddy cop thing, like. It's so many movies, though. I can't think of them right offhand, but seriously, that's been like his last 5 movies. Cop Out. It was was it Cop Out with The Rock again?
No.
The other guys.
Pain and Gain was
Pain and Gain,
with The Rock.
And then the other guys.
Yeah.
Right. And there was like 2 others. But yeah, that's like every one of Marky Mark's movies today looks the same. I cannot distinguish between them. It doesn't look that bad, but it looks completely anonymous to me. They've all blown completely just past me. I don't know. Thank God no R.I.P.D. trailer, but it's in the theaters, so whatever.
That was the threat I used against it.
Yeah, it was either that or
it was either watch Pacific Rim or R.I.P.D.
What else was there?
Gravity.
Gravity. Looks good. Looks good. I mean, the trailer is vague as all hell. Like, they're in space, and then things blow up, and then it's scary. But, it's minimalist, it's effective. I like minimalist sometimes. It's good. That's about all I remember, though.
That's about it.
That was about it.
Barring a few quibbles here and there, it would have been my most entertaining movie of the year.
What is? What?
No, I'm saying, like, it would have been hard to knock it down from the beginning.
Okay. So, okay.
Because most of the summer movies, Iron Man 3 I still found to be very enjoyable. I'm just saying, if a few things were changed, it would have been like...
You're going to get hate for that one.
I'm sure it will. I don't care.
You're going to get it for that one. Okay, go on.
But I'm saying it would have been head and shoulders over the competition if
Sure.
a few things were changed.
Sure.
Yes, it's an absolute nerd love letter to kaiju and giant monster movies, and that's what it appealed to me for.
Okay. Was that it?
I'm waiting for you.
Okay. You're gonna wait for me to hit back. It was okay, and that's as far as I'll give it. It was okay. This movie was incredibly boring up until just about the end of the second act, when the robots started fighting. Until then, it was a lot of meeting a bunch of really uninteresting one-note characters. And these characters are so lame. These characters are so boring and so uninteresting. They have nothing to say. They really are a bunch of stereotypes. They are purely defined either by their nationality or their completely simplistic goal in life. We have the Russians, we have the Chinese guys, we have the Aussies, and we have we have the main characters whose motivation is to avenge my brother, to avenge my city. That's it. Their motivations boil purely down to, like, a monster stepped on my city, a monster ate my brother. There's nothing more to it than that. The Russians are so fucking hilariously stereotypical. They look like they seriously look like Ivan Drago and his fucking girlfriend from Rocky IV. Every time they appear, it's so fucking hilarious. The stereotypical Russian chorus kicks into high gear. The Chinese guys, of course, they dress in the fucking, they dress in the red Chinese flag all the time, and they might as well just be, like, throwing yo-yos all around and shit like that. And I'm sorry, these characters, and again, I'm going to get hate for this. They're like, well, it's robots fighting. It's not going to be Shakespeare. What do you want? Really well-developed characters? And I'm like, no, but the thing is, that's why we shouldn't be dwelling. They dwell on these characters and meeting them for like 45 fucking minutes. I don't know why we're supposed to care about these guys as much as we do. We feel nothing when they die. We feel like, they just have no identity aside from those one-point traits. Even their robots really don't have much of a definition beyond, like, the only real, and this is where I thought the movie really failed in terms of, like, the monsters and the Jaegers was, they didn't really give the robots and the monsters a whole lot of different identities. If you watch those Japanese movies, it's always very clear what the strengths and or not strengths and weaknesses, but what the identities of those monsters are, or especially the strengths and weaknesses of these robots are. So, aside from like the Chinese robot, which has 3 arms and fights really like it fights in this little whirlwind attack style, which we don't ever really see employed because the one time it employs this style, it fails. We don't really see these robots have any kind of, unique fighting style. We see the Russian robot kind of fight, and it fails. You know what I mean? We're told the Australian Jaeger is fast, but it doesn't seem any faster or slower than any of the other Jaegers that we see fight. The only Jaeger that we see have any real screen time is, of course, the American one. So the monsters, likewise, those have a little more identity than most, but because later on some of them have like projectile attacks. Another one flies. And things like that. But even then, it's a little harder to. It kind of goes against those old style monster movies, in the sense that in those monster movies, you're dealing with one. Those monster movies are based around like a one-on-one fight. This movie obviously is based around it moves a lot faster because we're dealing with many against many. But it's harder to dwell on any one of those monsters and what makes them special, for any prolonged period of time. Where so stylistically, I think those movies. So when you say it's like a love letter to those movies, I kind of disagree because stylistically, it's very, very different than those movies. It has to be because those movies. Let's just face it, those movies are much, much slower and much more plotting because it's 2 dudes in rubber suits beating the shit out of each other very slowly, and it's filmed in a much different style.
Well, it's the much bigger budget version. I guess the comparison would be the movie Grindhouse.
Yeah.
Planet Terror is not a Grindhouse movie.
No.
It's what you would do if you gave $50 million to a Grindhouse director and then locked it in the vault for 50 years. It's the fantasy of that. In this case, this is what you do if you had a $190 million budget for a kaiju film. And in this case, you see the tropes of it. You see the kind of quirky scientist characters. You see the...
Oh, God. I'll get to them.
You see the mass destruction. You see, even the score of it, it had very reminiscent of Godzilla with a...
I was going to disagree. I was going to get to that. I found the score completely inappropriate.
Oh, I love the score.
I hated
it. It was one of the few times that I actually remark on the score because
I did not like it.
This is probably the first time it was so good that I actually remarked. I can't think of any other scores on this.
Wow, I don't know what movie you were watching because I thought the score was terrible. Yeah, if you think that was like comparable to the old like kaiju flicks, no. I thought like if you were going for like the kind of scale and if you were trying to convey the kind of scale and menace and terror and destruction that these monsters were supposed to convey, I didn't get that at all. I was getting kind of like this kind of a rinky-dink feeling to it all. It was almost kind of like a festive atmosphere. It was almost like kind of celebratory in the violence. It was kind of like an America fuck yeah type of anthem going on to the violence, and I thought that was completely inappropriate to what was happening. Yeah, me and you were like just...
I don't know what you were listening to.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I was like... I can't believe what you said there. I was like... maybe we were watching... Like, maybe, like, the scene you were watching, you were like, fuck yeah, and I was watching a different scene going like, what the fuck? What I mean is, like, the scene you were remarking on... Like, I wasn't remarking on it all. And the scene I was remarking on, you didn't know.
When the monsters are terrorizing the city, it's the kind of Godzilla. Brr, brr, brr.
I thought that was what I was watching. I don't know.
No.
I don't know. Well, I think maybe it was more like when I was during the fight scenes. It was kind of like this, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this is not what. There's, I don't know. I didn't like it. The characters are kind of what bothered me in this one because like they were just so cheesy and what really bothered me were the Aussie pilots. Really stereotypical, and I kept leaning over to you as soon as the younger Aussie pilot. He was Iceman. He was Iceman from Top Gun. I kept expecting him to just be like, you are dangerous, Maverick. Like, because that was like every line out of his mouth was like, you're gonna get us all killed, mate, and like the homoerotic tension there was crazy, and the comic relief characters were horrible.
This is where we're going to disagree again.
They were so grating. These are characters that would never exist in any plane of existence. That fucking guy with the hair that had like the... Well, as you see, mathematics never lies. What? And like he like writes these fuck off equations as he's like, well, double event is inevitable, indubitably. Oh, the signs of the kaiju are coming through, and then signs of the chemical equation, the queen, and I'm like, this guy, you cannot be serious with this guy. I just wanted to, like, grab the one guy and grab this other guy by their heads and bang them together like maracas until they both shut up.
I like them.
The one saving grace when it comes to the characters... Okay, two. One was Idris Elba was pretty fucking awesome. Two, there was no annoying Japanese kid. Which is kind of a staple in the kaiju films.
That is one trope that
there was Ichi, there was no Ken. What are we going to do? There was no kid who knows everything and knows how to stop the monster.
Or like a I forget the name of the character in Battlestar Galactica, the kid in that too, or Wesley Crusher.
Yeah.
You could tell, like, they would have a character of a kid who's a hanger-on that he wants to be a Jaeger pilot somewhere down the road.
Yeah,
and he's always
like whatever the fucking kid is in Matrix.
Yeah.
Oh, that fucking
mouse or whatever.
Mouse kid with the. Oh, I wanted to fucking slap that kid. I think there were missed opportunities in terms of like giving the Jaegers identity. They just kind of had different colors. For instance, they could have done so much with the various... the one with the three arms is really the only one that stood out. There was this big blocky Russian one, but that was really its only defining characteristic was it was big and blocky, and whenever you saw it, stereotypical Russian music played. It just looked like P-Jack from Tekken, you know. I think they really missed out on a chance to have like a Voltron-style mech. I think they missed out on having one that kind of looked like a tank or something like that. They could have really played around with it. You know, to have one that didn't just fist fight. To have one that kind of relied on projectiles, or one that kind of... You know, there were other types of Jaeger. They just load up a fucking Gundam anime or something like that. They didn't have to limit themselves, and that's what I mean by that. The monsters, by comparison, had a little bit more variation.
They were getting more diverse as the movie went on.
They did. Yes.
You had one of them bust out a sword, the other one had, like, chainsaws on it.
Yes,
and
the sword. I heard they bust out the sword, and he's like, that was something you could have informed me about 3 hours ago. Since when did we add a sword? Oh my god. few plot holes, a few fairly significant plot holes. Like there's this thing called the drift, where the pilots driving one of these mechs takes two pilots, and they have to link their brains together. So of course the hero has to link his brain together with a new pilot because his brother gets killed. So to try it out, he links together with the new pilot, and things go wrong because there has to be a complication. And so when things go wrong, she gets lost in her own mind, and she panics, and she starts powering up the plasma cannon in the hangar bay, which threatens the lives of everyone in the control booth. Two things. One, the failsafe fails. Fucking budget cuts, I guess. Two, you'd think they'd test this some way before hooking her up to several thousand megaton nuclear reactors and a plasma gun, just to see if their heads exploded. You'd think there'd be like a test simulation chamber just to work out the kinks before hooking them into the 60-story gigantic fist robot. You'd think. But we're talking again. Robots versus monsters. What are you nitpicking for? I don't know. Just you tell me.
I don't know.
You're just looking at me like, what are you talking about?
I'm sorry there wasn't more logic to your Pacific Rim.
Well, I'm sorry. This movie was kind of fucking stupid.
You're gonna get hate mail for that.
Oh, I don't fucking care. Fuck you. This movie was really fucking stupid. It was fun. When the third act, when it finally started to get moving, it was fun. I liked watching the fights. I will say good things about the fights. When the fight started, the camera was pulled far enough back. The edits were few and far between. I could see what was happening. It was clear what was going on. When the fight scenes took place, the fights were different enough that they weren't repetitive. They took place in different locations, and they were fought differently. You know? The monsters busted out new tricks each time. The heroes busted out new tricks each time. Like, for one, like, they fought with just normal fists. Another one, they used their plasma gun. And one of them times, they kind of wrestled. They kind of, like, busted out the master lock. Another one, they kind of threw the... Remember the one they threw in, like, an omoplata or whatever it was?
They put a headlock on.
No, the one where you actually put him in, like, a hammerlock. Never mind.
I think you're thinking the pilots.
The pilot. Yeah, but no, they actually threw him in, like, the master lock, and then they kind of put him, like, an armbar and, like, hammered him with the plasma gun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was a headlock. But yeah, they at one point they used brute force, at one point they used speed. Another one they picked up a fucking boat and beat the shit out of him with a boat. You know, another time they fucking ripped out the thing's acid sac and shit, and another one they got pulled into midair and stuff like that. It was cool. It was cool. The fights were different enough. They were interesting. And that's where the movie... that was the great strength, and that was what the movie was built around. So it was well done. So bravo. So if you walked into the movie an hour late, it was a perfect movie.
I guess I'll speak about my quibbles with it.
Mm.
First off, I understand why they shoot at night, and while it's raining, it's because you can't have it during the day, because the special effects won't look as good during the day.
Yeah.
But still, someone want to be a little bit more lit.
You want one of them to take place during the day?
Well, not even during the day.
Well, during
but the best one was the Hong Kong one.
Yeah.
When it took place in the middle of the city. I'm not asking for it to be broad daylight. It's just some of them were in the middle of the pitch black ocean.
Like two of them were.
And I'm just like...
The beginning fight was, and the one where... the one that kind of kicked off the third act was. The end of the second act. You know, the one where the...
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
And I still saw it, But still, I'd like it to be a little bit easier on my eyes.
Yeah,
because I was trying to piece together some of it, and I shouldn't be having to do mental gymnastics to figure out what's going on.
Those locations could have been a little more well developed, yeah.
Which is why the second one for me is I kind of wish they would have had another Hong Kong fight to kind of bookend the film. One instead of fighting in the middle of the ocean, I would have preferred if they had fought in another city.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I would have done one. I would have done one like in Antarctica.
If they had done, if it had been bookended with kind of, and that's asking a lot, I grant you, but 2 kind of Hong Kong fight scenes, and it doesn't even have to, like, they fought in Alaska was the first one. If they had done one in there, and then had the one in Hong Kong, it would have been a great.
I might have been interested to see like a prologue where we actually had to see the very first kaiju attack, where we had to see, at least in brief, like the military have to try to fight off. Although that might have been a movie in itself. Like honestly, that would have been Cloverfield. You know, watching the military just try to fight off through brute force the first kaiju. That would have been kind of interesting. At least that would have like made it very, very clear the stakes that we were fighting for. Because honestly, I think that was missing. I think at times that was missing because we're never really shown the scope of the destruction that these things are capable of. You know, really. Even when we're shown news footage of the destruction these things cause, it's very limited. We're only shown like very brief glimpses of like the biological plague. In fact, they even mention like a plague that the blood of this stuff causes, like the waste and the blood. They have a name for it. They're like the kaiju plague or something like that. And I'm like, they're building up to something here, and then they just don't mention it again. Like, is there going to be some kind of mutants or something like that? No, they don't bring it up. They mentioned like a black market, and nothing is ever really made of that. It's just kind of an excuse to get. It's kind of an excuse to get a secondary brain. It's kind of a side plot that didn't need to be there. Honestly, they could have written around that with a little trickery. He could have just hooked his brain into the thing and been like, "It won't work," you know. And if they needed to cut it out, they could have. Really? Now that would have cost us Ron Perlman.
Yeah,
but it didn't really need to be there. If I'm taking editor's shears to it, anyway. I would have liked to have seen, because they just say like, "Oh, it wiped out 3 cities," and that was sad. I would have also liked to have seen a little bit more of the XCOM Council. You know how at the very beginning they just go like, "Yeah, the Jaeger project is working okay, but you suck, so we're shutting you down. Bye," and they just kind of hang up on them because they're like, "Yeah, we're building this wall. Yeah, the wall should really keep them out. Building a big brick wall, that'll demoralize them."
Couldn't it climb over, sir?
No, it's a wall.
These are pretty strong.
No,
break through.
Really thick wall. Colonel, your funding is cut. I'm sorry. The giant robots were a great idea, but you know what? Sometimes the oldest ideas are the best. The Chinese, hey, you know what? The Chinese are still around. Big wall.
Giant defensive line works so well for the French in World War II.
Hey, you know what? We don't need that kind of attitude, Colonel. Big fucking wall, way cheaper. End of call. Like,
it worked so well in World War Z. Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, the whole big wall thing doesn't pan out. I don't really know what the plan was.
It get demoralized and just turn around?
Yeah, I don't know. They're going to build a wall. And they're going to build a wall.
The monster would just be like,
oh, shit.
Fuck.
Oh. What was the rest of the plan? Like, we're going to throw, like, go away. Like, even if that worked. And and they have wings. like they can't even they're gonna climb up it it's like a brick wall. So even if they assume they can just claw handholds in it and climb up, I don't see you're gonna. Are they gonna build turrets on top of it? I guess that would be the rest of the plan. I would assume, but that hasn't really worked out so far. I guess we're made to assume that the ruling the country, there's a bunch of idiots and the Jaegers are the way better plan. I get that, but it's a really dumb secondary plan. I would have liked to have seen a little better, if even just to have a scene where Idris Elba gets on the phone back with these guys and so that wall, yeah, and the guys are oh well, yeah, so those Jaegers, it was it's still gonna take you 8 months to build a new one, and you got 2 weeks. Good luck with that. And so that scene would have been a little bit interesting at least, because it wouldn't have helped them. Honestly, that scene didn't even need to be there, but because they established that they're destroying the mechs faster than they can build them. I'm okay, fine. You got 4 months of that, so really the whole funding cutscene again didn't even need to be there. But they kind of established that this guy needed to be somewhere wasting his life away essentially, and so they needed to get him, in Rambo 3,
Well, as he does stick fighting just for
which he does. Cash. He does stick fighting in this movie, which was another scene I kind of scratched my head about. I was
do it for the extra cash.
Yeah, it was we need to establish their compatibility for the mech piloting. So let's have them beat the shit out of each other with a stick.
I think charades would work better, and
or
compatibility,
or Pictionary. Team Pictionary.
Sounds like.
Yeah, ooh, 2 words? Sounds like, oh, you're perfect.
We are so compatible.
You're synced up! Or Gears of War. I just think the whole beating the shit out of each other with sticks seems like a good way to get injured. And sure enough, that's what happens when they start legitimately beating the shit out of each other with... few plot holes here. It was just it was a good excuse to get some really it was an excuse to get an action beat in the middle of the really fucking boring second act, because it was really fucking boring, and it was another excuse to get Iceman to shake his head and go you were dangerous, Maverick. Okay. Bottom line, it was okay. Where it was good was the robots fighting. Where it was bad was everything else. Luckily, the entire last act is the robots fighting. I don't know what else you want me to say.
Yeah, well, I don't think it was great. I thought it was... The story was effective. It had a story to tell to get to the action.
Yeah.
And it while predictable, it's the kind of...
predictable, you think?
While predictable, it's kind of the things that you have to do to get to where you need to go.
Yeah,
in order to do that, it did it well.
Yeah, it took too long to get there. It took way too long to get there.
And I thought it was helped out that you had charismatic people and decent writing with the script to make it...
It needed to... Okay. Let's just say, let's forget my complaints about because really I'm going the characters are unrealistic, the characters are shallow. Robots versus monsters, fuck it. Okay? Just crumple it up, fuck it. I'm full of shit. We're talking robots versus monsters, so let's just take it apart on that level. My main point is, I think the robots could have used a little more identity, a little more variation in how they fought. I think the monsters could have used a little bit more of the same. I thought otherwise the fight choreography was good. I thought otherwise maybe the fight locations could have used a little bit more color, a little bit more variation. Other than that, I thought the action was good. I thought whenever the action was on screen, it was fast, it was exciting. I thought it was. I never thought it got repetitive. And sometimes when you've got a movie like that, it can easily get repetitive, and it didn't. So on that score, it was really, really good. This movie was too long. For what it was way too long. There you go.
I thought it was very entertaining. Again, well, I guess I'm the target audience because I knew what it was going in.
No, I knew what it was going in.
And it delivered on what I wanted out of it. Like I said, I would have liked a better bookend for the action in the beginning. I mean, if you had something even...
That's what I mean.
I would say even half as entertaining as the Hong Kong fight scene from the third act bridge, it would have, like I said, it would have been hard to beat as the most entertaining film of the year.
What do you mean? You wanted a better fight in the first part?
Yeah.
It was a pretty good fight in the first part.
It was pretty good, but I would have liked if it was like the same Godzilla city destruction fight.
That's what I mean. Is
if they'd done it in the city instead of in the middle of the ocean.
I think that was one that could have taken place in the middle of the city. I think they really needed to impress upon us. That's what I mean. Is I think they needed to impress upon us the scope and the devastation of the lives that were being destroyed by these monsters. And I think that's where the movie really failed. Was they kept telling us like the world is ending. People are dying, and we never saw that. Not really. You know, we saw buildings get smashed occasionally, but we never saw that human cost. And I think maybe it's because it's PG-13, we never really got to see all that many people get killed. But even in terms of like a kaiju movie, we saw, you know, you see people get killed in those movies. You see people get fucking crushed. I don't know. I thought maybe it could have done a lot more to like increase the scope of the movie, and instead they just tell us. They just go, yeah, oh yeah, 3 cities got crushed, and I'm like, well,
I don't know. I think you get obviously, like you said, it's PG-13, so they can't show it, but they give you enough. Like when you're seeing on the screen the big monster blast through the giant wall, and it's like it cuts through their giant defense. Like a knife through butter.
The one time I got it was the flashback where you see Mako's city gets destroyed, and that was really effective. But that was the one time I ever got that impression. You know, that's all. It was okay. It was too long. I think where we really differ is I thought the score was terrible. I thought it was really, really bad. And in fact, I was really reminded of that during the closing credits. I was listening to the closing credits going like, oh right, the music sucks. It was so bad.
Right, we're complete opposites, because I really liked it.
Bad. I also, if I'm this isn't nitpick, I didn't like the lead, I didn't like the lead character actor. I didn't like him. I don't know, something about him, he grated on me. I didn't like him.
I think the problem is just that he's stock, like a lot of other things. But
everything about every one of these characters was stock. I mean, let's be fair.
But everyone at least had a better personality trait than. I mean, when you're just Dirk Squarejaw, American hero.
That's what he was. Yeah.
It's.
But that's what I mean, is he's bland, but he had nothing to work with. I agree. But I just didn't like him. For some reason, I just looked at him and was like, you are white bread to me. You know, I was like, he just almost was a non-presence on the screen. And not that the Japanese, not that the Japanese chick was not much better. She was really just kind of, there, you know. They were all just kind of, there. Pretty much. The dog pretty much had... Even the dog didn't act that well. I was like... The dog was just kind of like, I'm in a movie. And like, this is... Yeah, I'm criticizing the dog's performance. Fuck you, Pacific Rim. That's right. The dog sucked. Iceman was in this movie. Iceman. There was no gay volleyball scene. If you're gonna have Iceman in this movie, do the gay volleyball scene. Let's just come on. I would have liked to have seen the different fighting styles of the robots because they established the whole thundercloud fighting style, but the only time we ever see it fail. They established the Russians, how badass they are, but the one time we see them fight, they fail. And hilariously, the best Jaeger in the world, the Aussies built.
I didn't even mention it. Canadians.
The Canadians were on the council of like the world badasses, and they're like, fuck you, Idris Elba. Now, I'm sorry, Australia, but I just don't see you building the world's most badass monster stomping mech.
Of course, the people in Europe didn't give a fuck.
No, Great Britain, they didn't bring one to the table. Japan, I didn't see no Japanese fucking Jaeger. What the fuck? I didn't see no Mecha Godzilla coming out of Japan.
They're working on Akira.
Working on Akira. They're working on the Akira psychic soldier thing.
Yeah.
That would have been interesting to see. Like if they had some kind of. I mean, that would have been a real distraction. So that would have never happened. But like if they had some other weapon that they were building on, like sonic tanks. Actually, that was missing from this movie. Was like.
Yeah, I was going to mention that too. Was usually during the Godzilla movies, you had the token.
The lightning tanks.
Yeah, like the sonic tanks or the lightning.
The towers with the lightning wires.
And it would have been great to have like one scene where they're just like, we'll try these sonic tanks on them.
That's what I mean. Again, is in the opening scene, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of the opening engagement with the kaiju, with the conventional army. And that's where you would have seen that. But again, that would have been a movie all on its own. You know what I mean? You'd have seen like the first kaiju emerge and shit like that. Anyway, I'm rambling on this one. Final verdict on this one: it was okay. I'm going to get so much flack for this. I really am. There's not much I can do about it. You know, I thought it was okay. I thought the action was really good. And. I don't know what else you want from me. I don't. I mean, if
I want your blood.
No, you take my blood, but in terms of sheer action, this movie was perfect for what it needed to be. It was okay. I just wanted to see a little more variety in the characters. I wanted to see a little more variety in the monsters and the mechs. It would have been really good. The fucking comic relief needed to go, and the movie needed to be about 20 minutes shorter. That's what I got. You?
See, I at least know that in these types of films, it's more the style rather than the substance of the characters or the story, so I knew not to expect.
See, the thing is, you're speaking like I expected this, and I didn't. Not really.
Just... name a Godzilla movie with deep characters.
But no, this is. You're giving me the exact comment I'm going to get. This is the comment I'm going to get. This is Pacific Rim. This is a Godzilla flick. It's not going to be Citizen Kane. I swear to God, I'm going to get a comment.
I'm not even saying that.
No, but that's everyone's going to say that. It's not good. I hate that comment. I hate that comment whenever I bring that up. It's not Citizen Kane.
I'm not even saying that. I'm saying, like, it's not Iron Man. I mean, you're not going into it with character motivations of people like Iron Man does.
I know. Go on. I'm saying the comic relief was annoying. I'm saying the characters had little to no definition beyond the one defining characteristic that they had. And I'm saying, when that's the only thing that they have, why did we spend so much time with them? We spent too much time with them in that case. If you're just going to have the characters be that much, don't spend that much time with them. You know, this is a fucking Voltron movie. Have them be fucking Voltron and have them fight monsters. You know, the best thing I can say about this movie, and this is actually very high praise, is that when it comes to the robots fighting monsters, they didn't fuck it up. And honestly, that's unbelievably... You can't say that about almost any other movie up to this point. Like fucking... And I know I keep going back to this Transformers. You'd think with robots fighting each other, you couldn't fuck it up. They found a way to fuck it up 3 times. At least you turn it over to Guillermo del Toro, and he's like, okay, you got robots fighting monsters. He goes, alright, I'll give it to you. And he didn't fuck it up. He could have done it better, but I guess you can do anything better, couldn't you? He had robots fighting monsters, and he didn't fuck it up. He did it, it was exciting, it was fun, I liked it. It was everything else that wasn't very good. Fair? Is that fair?
I guess.
I'm not trying to browbeat you, I'm just saying, like, we kind of agree on that point at least, yes? Everything else, you're like, well, what did you expect, asshole? Like, and I'm like, I don't know. See, that's, okay, so we've actually reached an accord here. You're like, I thought the characters were weak. Well, what did you expect, dickhead? I'm like, I don't know. I thought Ron Perlman was funny. He was funny. He had really nice shoes.
He had a grill.
He had... Ugh. I'm done. Say something to close us out.
What does that mean, to close us out?
Oh, fuck it. We'll do it live. Have fun. Enjoy... I'm not even going to read the comment section for this video. Feel free! Tear me apart. You know what? Go nuts on him. He compared this to Iron Man 3.
I'm the nice one, man.
No! Go him! He's the bad guy. Why do I have to be the bad guy? I don't want to be the bad guy. It was okay. I don't want to be the bad guy. Fuck this.